Greetings, Israel, Judah. This is your brother DFG. Hey guys, I want to take some time this morning and share some things with you all. And let me say out front, this message is probably going to sound like it is all over the place. And I'm going to tell you, it is all over the place because what's going on that our Yah has put upon my heart is to warn my people of all the things that are going on around us all over the place. Many of these things that your brother's going to be talking to you about are going to be supernatural things. So I just want to say right up front, get ready for it. Not get ready for the message. I'm telling my brothers and sisters, get ready for supernatural events, things that you would have never thought in 1,000 lifetimes, if I can use that as a metaphor. You know what I'm saying? Or saying. Things are going to start happening. Things are already happening. And what Yah has placed upon my heart, the last 2 nights, tossing and turning. And that is to tell my people, prepare yourself, get yourself ready. Whatever their priorities are, if their priorities are not on getting themselves ready, shift your priority and get yourself ready. Okay, and again, let me be clear. Let me clarify. When I say get ready, he's not talking about just prepping. He's saying get yourself ready emotionally. Emotionally. Many of our people, we stay in this state of. Well, not this. I don't want to. We stay in a state of ignoring things. I guess that's the best way. Of maybe a healthy denial. Can I use that word? A lot of Israel spent a lot of time in healthy denial, because it, I think, allows us to be able to coexist, on an earth that, for the most part, is so hostile to us. Is that we almost have to put ourselves in some state of existence where we just accept our place, not our place as in color, but accept our station, in the hierarchy of things. We're pretty much at the bottom of the economic ladder, the bottom of the healthy ladder. Unfortunately, we're at the bottom of the immoral ladder now. And so what we do is that we just kind of ignore the obvious and just embrace the necessary. This is what I got to do to make sure that I can get to tomorrow mentality. Well, for you, my brothers and sisters, for those who fit that, let me just get through the day and let tomorrow take care of itself because I can't do anything about it anyway. Not you spiritualist. Not your religion. Or not you religious. I'm talking about, the everyday guy who's about to get up and go grind. Everyday sister who's about to get up in the morning and start, preparing herself, for the kids or for her family or for work, whatever it might be. And it doesn't matter what status or what state you're in economically, by the way. Let me be clear in that regard. What's coming is coming. And so when I say prepping, brothers and sisters, I'm saying get yourself ready to see things that you never thought you would actually see. And if you're not emotionally grounded, if you don't have a solid foundation under you, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it. Now, this is, again, this has been on my heart for 2 nights, brothers and sisters. And I was talking to the Most High, and praying, as many of my brothers and sisters do. And, Abba Yah says to us, he says, will there be a secret and I keep it away from my messengers, the watchman, the prophet, whatever name that the book associates us with. And the prophet is not somebody who sits around with a rag on their head, talking about moons and stars and spaceships and grasshoppers and bumblebees and Beyonce and whoever these, so-called prophets claim to be. Abba Yah's prophet is one who warns his people of things that they may not be hearing, things they may not be understanding, so that they can respond and prepare themselves. That's what Yah places upon my heart. And that's what Amos is talking about when he says, well, Abba Yah, have a secret, and he won't reveal it to his messenger or his servant, the prophets. So there's not a, beat your chest, big honorable thing like, look at me, look at me. I can assure you that's not a prophet in our book that walked in a state of peace of mind. He was probably the most hated and despised person, of the people. Even the false ones weren't appreciated. Maybe by the little heathen kings because they had them to tell them, or the people, in sorcery and divination and witchcraft, and that's the altar builders. Yeah, they love the prophet because they work in conjunction with them. That's how they get their power. So the wicked prophet, but nothing comes to pass. The wicked prophet just pretty much says what the master want them to say. They're masters. That was Jezebel's prophet, the prophets of Baal. They were like, well, Jezebel, you're a Baal worshiper. We're a Baal worshiper, so we'll just do we'll do your dirty work for you. That's your T.I.E. Jakes. That's your Charles Dawes, your Geno Jennings. Those ones who will sit there and disrespect people and say anything that they want to say to people, and then call themselves. It's about holiness. It's about separation. It's about community. It's about this or that. Well, but except in the T.I.E. Jakes. If that man's not swinging both ways, then there's no such damn thing, as a playground. And y'all know what I mean when I say swinging both ways. The Isaac Brothers had a song came out years ago called Twist and Shout. If that little dirty, wicked demon doesn't fit that description, twisting on the stage and shouting and ain't doing nothing. Old James Brown had it right. He's talking loud, but ain't saying nothing. Well, I want to say to you, my brothers and sisters, I'm not talking loud. I'm trying to be as clear as I could possibly be and will tell you again, Abba Yah is saying, prepare yourselves for phenomenal things that's going to cause people's hearts to stop beating because they're not prepared to shock of it. And I'm going to give you a couple of things to think about, and then, of course, we're going to go to the book to validate it. Again, another thing, Abba Yah does not give messages to his prophets. And again, for clarity purpose, I'm not talking about these people who want to sit up in their high chairs or on their altars behind their pulpits, on their soapbox, just hooping and hollering and fighting them in whatever, ranting and raving. I'm not talking about them. If you ever step back and watch them and listen closely, they never in the book. They'll quote something in the book. Oh, the ship coming. Get ready, the ship coming. And you've heard me say it again. You get on somebody's ship, you deserve to go wherever it takes you. Let me say that to you again. If you get on somebody's ship, Israel, you deserve to go wherever it takes you. If Abba Yah wanted us anywhere in particular, he has the power to get us there. I'm talking about beyond your borders, wherever you may reside. And yeah, there is a final place that there's going to be the ultimate battle for the souls of Israel. There's no question about it. We're still the prize. But how Abba Yah gets us there is how he gets us there. But until that time, again, I'll just forewarn you, those are not your prophets. They're man-made prophets. They're what did the book say? They're dumb, greedy dog prophets. You keep resources coming in, they're going to keep prophesying. I can assure you. And they're going to say any damn thing that they do want to say because they know what gets the algorithm going. They know what gets the rating up. They know what gets the views up. And so that's right where they play. That's why they give you little 10-minute clips, little 20-minute clips. I don't know what kind of damn prophet that Yah tells them, hey, all of their messages, 20 minutes, 29 minutes, 28 minutes, 15 minutes, 55 minutes. Well, let me keep it under an hour. You think Yah is telling them that? Seriously, you think that Abiyah is saying, hey, when you get this message tomorrow, I want you to keep it under 20 minutes, okay? Because I don't want, people get busy and their attention span is not that long. Straight up crazy liars. And I did say crazy. But again, they got many followers, many followers. And those followers, just like Baal's, like Jezebel Baal prophets, they would they would scream at, they would shout, they would have fits. You follow me? And if they could put their heads around, Abiyah's messengers, I'm sure they would be more than happy to choke us out. But then again, Abiyah's messengers are not to be played with. Read your book. Read your book. But before I get into that, I want to remind my brothers to the rest of this. And I told you, hunker down, because we're going to be where we're going today. But I just want to take a moment and thank individuals who have been contributing, to the support, of the work that Abiyah has placed in front of me to do. And, I don't want to miss anybody. But Yasharel, brother, I don't know you, but you were there over this weekend, so you know who I'm talking about. And I want to thank that particular brother. I want to thank Sister Jennifer with an A. I want to thank Sister Naya. I want to thank Sister Mary E., Sister Mary Thornton, Sister Maria. I want to thank Brother Adrian. Because I'm going to say this to you, to those, my brothers and sisters, you guys are very helpful. It doesn't matter if it's a book, a cake, resources, Sister Karina. It doesn't matter what it is. The fact that Israel is helping Israel, even if it's a stranger on the outside helping Israel, the fact that you can find the time to stop, and find ways to be supportive. I'm just saying to you, if I see you, what do you think, Abiyah? If I can see you and he puts upon my heart to bring you up and bring you out, then guess what, sister and brothers? Or sisters and brothers, then Yah sees it too. Now, again, the Bible study tonight, 7 o'clock Eastern time. Again, we try to keep it now at an hour, and we will be there, Yah willing. And if you haven't had a chance to open up the Tanakh, the world calls the Bible, and have some time to fellowship among like-minded believers, because you don't want to do what the heathens are doing with their sun worship on Sundays or whatever their worship they do. Even the demon worship us on Saturday. Just because you're worshiping on a Saturday doesn't make you in the cult. 7-day Adventists, and a lot of them are over there on Saturdays. Those who practice Judaism are over there. And we know they're devils. But I'm talking about if you just need that time and you want to be a part of like-minded brothers and sisters, Israelites, and you just want to hear the word being taught, not told, taught. We always say, saw and hammer. Then you're welcome, to join us, okay? But anyway, that to be said, let's get back to prepping and being ready, brothers and sisters. Understanding that, things that we're going to see, it's going to be unbelievable. And I'm not sure how this is going to work with those who took the jab. Let me say that to you, brothers and sisters. I'm not sure how that's going to work for you in terms of how you're going to interpret what you're seeing. I know for those who did not, you're going to see things as Abiyah shows them to you. If you're seeking and you love him and you're in his word and you're honest and you have a repentant state of mind, you are humble. You're not walking around, fighting against the truth, spending all your time trying to reverse truth. Because unfortunately, we have some Israelites who, very wavering minded. They love Yahuwah, but they're wavering minded. And what I mean by that, instead of them just hunkering down in the Torah and in the Tanakh, they're searching the world over. Caught up in all kind of little, interesting but distractive things. And my job and my responsibility to you is to tell you all that research and all that studying is going to do nothing but burn your brain off. You're going to wear your brain out. You're going to wear your mind out. And even in that, remember what we were told by one of our greatest kings, Solomon. What did he say? Too much studying is what? Weariness of the mind. He's not telling us to sit down and be imbeciles, and he damn sure not telling us to sit down and let people, talking to us like we're a bunch of, can't learn on our own. No, that is that there are probably thousands of other books out there that can tell you a little something about, who we are as a people, who the heathens are, who the fallen ones are. But at the end of the day, if it does not connect to the Torah, if it does not connect to the Tanakh, it does not connect to Israel, then what does it really matter? It's vanity of all vanity. What does it really matter? And if it connects to the Tanakh, and it connects to Abba Yah's Torah, and it connects to Abba Yah's people, Israel, us, the bloodline ones, mostly melanated ones. Then if it connects to us, then why are we going over there when we can come right here? But how that jab is going to impact, I really can't say. I will say as what I have said before many times. There is nothing too hard for Yahuwah. But I will say again, if you are arrogant and you're puffed up and you're emotional because you don't like the decision that people, if you don't like the idea that people are maybe being critical of the decision that you made for whatever reason you made it, be very careful with that mindset. Because you could become a snare unto yourself. You could become, your own Naaman. Talked about Naaman in 1 Kings, and Naaman was a Syrian who Elijah told to go dip himself 7 times, in what Naaman thought was dirty water to heal his body of leprosy. And for a moment, he pushed away the messenger. He pushed away his own assistant and said, forget that crap. In Syria, where I'm from, there are pools over there. So, you know what? I'm not doing this. But Yah has mercy. Sometimes Yah send a little voice crying in the wilderness. Forget that heathen foolishness. But he'll send a little voice. Put some one of us out here for you to test you. To see if you're meek enough to listen. Talking about those who were jabbed. See if you're meek enough to listen. See if you're willing to detox. See if you're willing, to start taking, different, eating healthier, living healthier. Seeking out Yah, coming out of idolatry, Christianity, religion, and all of its many tentacles. Are you willing to go down, in the dirty water, so to speak, 7 times? Because it's what Yah says. In other words, are you willing to be obedient to his word, to his Torah, and his messenger, the prophet? In this case, Elijah. Because guess what? Yah could heal you. If they did put it in you, Yah could get it out. No man could get out. No remedy they're talking about. But I can assure you, through your obedience and your action, Yah can address that. But if you choose to just leave it as it is, then I don't know what to say to you, because you may not be noticing any of this stuff as it happens. It may just, they've been using that. I was one of my, I think one of my brothers and sisters, who are part of Yah's people, for lack of a better word, because we're not a group. We're not a community. We're not a cult. We're just like-minded believers of Abba Yah's truth. And we share things with one another. And it was shared with us, that, on one of the major news stations, Fox, how they were talking about, just as they foretold the coming, of the C-19 issue. Y'all know what I'm talking about. and what was going to happen. They were saying that, WHO a while back was talking about, a zombie apocalypse, zombies. I'm going somewhere with this, zombies apocalypse, and that it was written in their on their website what to do in case of, and then conveniently it was gone. It may have been CDC, but it was one of the health organizations. And all of a sudden now it's not there anymore. And he was saying that there are indicators and things that are happening amongst people now, and questioning whether or not those things were back. Or better yet, that they knew it was coming, and now we're at a state of where it's happening. And as outrageous as that might seem to some of you, my brothers and sisters, people eating people, will see if you were following us, your like-minded brothers, other Israelites who are not spending time, twisting and shouting and telling you about how many communities they're going to build, how many wives, they're allowed to have or not. Then you would know this is the truth that is all through your book, that our people were forced into cannibalism. And there were cannibals among us willingly. Some were forced that way out of desperation. Others they were there willingly. They were hungry, and they were making decisions, on a daily basis on, what was going to be served up. It's another reason why you hear me, when you hear your brother talk about this whole, Jesus narrative thing. Now they want us to believe that a savior of Israel, because according to them, Jesus just came for Israel. At least according to what they said, Jesus said, came for the lost sheep of Israel. Salvation is of the Yehudi. According to what they said, he said. And then later on, they spent it and twisted it and said it was for everybody. And all of a sudden, the Gentiles started to come in. And now, Jesus is the God of the Gentiles. But Jesus was always the God of the Gentiles. I don't give a damn if they were black or white Romans. He was their God first. And he still is. And he says you can eat him and drink his blood. Go figure. And you got Israelites out there right now, fussing and fighting, talking about the N-word Jesus. And their chest poked out about it. Like that means something. No, it don't mean anything other than he may have been a melanated man. May have been. Created by other melanated men who later turned out to be, Caucasian. And now, he's back again, melanated again. But trust me when I tell you this, brothers and sisters, that thing belongs to them. If Rome was once black and now it was white, and then it turned black or whatever it is, or the Europeans, they're black Europeans. The way we get off with this stuff, all Europeans are not white. Maybe some of you guys need to get out your hood. Maybe you get off that city block, stop slinging, and maybe travel a little bit. There are melanated people on every continent. Most continents, there are just as many continents that are more melanated than non-melanated than they are melanated. As a matter of fact, don't hold me this to 100%, but I think the non-melanated people on this planet represent about 5-6% of the world's population. I said the world's population, about 6%. That means over 90% of the world's population are melanated peoples. So could their Jesus started off black? Yeah. Many of their gods are black. And this is where it gets really slippery. And I think this is y'all's going to help some of my brothers right now. Listen in. Because, they get caught up in, Yahushua, he was black. And okay, whatever. That's what the Bible said. The Bible don't say anything about no damn Yahushua. The New Testament talks about a Yahushua. There ain't no damn JC in the Torah and the Tanakh. They again, if you're following this channel, Maccabees, 3:40 said they created and painted their own image and put him in the Torah. I don't know how many ways to say that. So for all you talking, oh yes he is, brother, he's here. Okay, believe what you want to believe. Keep on serving Jesus. Have it your way. Go ahead. Wait a minute. Let me go. Excuse me. Let me get out the way. Come on, so you can pass by. Don't let the door hit you in the ass. Or that doorknob over there. But not this doorknob. Wherever they are. Let them go. It's okay. Is what I'm saying. It's okay. But for my brothers and sisters who are struggling with that truth, I'm telling you, don't get caught up in colorism with that. Most of the so-called gods of this world were gods of color. You can go into Far Asia and you're going to see black Buddha sitting over there, or what you would call a black Buddha. You can go way down in Hindu land, East Indian, where they have millions of Elohims, gods, and you're going to see some black ones over there. So if you're basing your fate off a 12 tribe chart and blackness, how deep is the darkness for you? How deep is the darkness? Because it's going to be really dark. And ultimately, when you go into that grave, it's going to be even darker. But there'll be a little light in there because there will be fire. A lot of noise. You'll know about it. So don't get caught up in that either, my brothers and sisters. The fix has been in for a long time against Israel. They've always conspired against us. They know that we are the people of the chosen people. And they know that they are powerless against us if we were in obedience, serving the one true Elohim. But they knew again that if they came with the right agents, double agents, and planted them among us, these so-called prophets, I'm still on track here. I said it was going to be a little everywhere, so hey, don't run. Come. Give ear. But they planted them among us. They're right there among us. And most of them are children of the fallen ones. I'm talking about the melanated ones. Are children of the fallen ones. If 90% of the Earth's population have some form of melanation, or levels of melanation, it could be called, yellow people and brown people, whatever, but melanated, red people. But melanated, have melanin in them, not maybe to the degree as the so-called, the darker ones among us. But if 90% of our people are melanated people, why wouldn't the gods of this world be melanated gods? The demon gods, why wouldn't they be melanated? Make it make sense. Now there are some seed of the fallen ones who don't have any melanated. They can see their blood through their skins. They're not even human according to the book. They're carnal, but not spiritual. They have no soul in them. And they pretty much dominate the world in terms of war and slaughter. Oh, and blood. Because they love them some blood. And you have major flesh eaters. Let me say that too. But again, beware of those who are around you as you're preparing for what is to come. There's something in this book, and I put this in the last post, but I put it down in the description box. And after the message, of course, I realized that I did not share it, and I didn't have peace about not sharing it. So for whatever reason, I think Abba Yah want, typically I wouldn't go to these other resources, but since this one has everything to do with us. See the history? Can you see that up there? The white print. This is a medical book about us, brothers and sisters, and how that, how valuable we were to everything that would be considered medical science as you know it today. Everything from our DNA, stem cell research, the value of our melanin. But inside this book, depopulating the people, extermination of the people, Psalms 83. But if you couldn't see that fine, it said a dark history of medical experimentation on the black Americans from colonial times to right now today. But there was a little part in here that I wanted to share because I still think far too many of our people trust their pastors, their imams, their prophets, their religion leaders, their cult leaders, their camp leaders, whatever. They call them going to camp. That's what them GMS devils be talking about. We going to camp. And their idea of camp is standing on the street corner screaming and hollering at heathens. Talking about, they're white Jesus, but they've made him black, so they're black white Jesus. So they're black and white Jesus, because they'll tell you, well, we don't know, brother, he's white, but he could be black. I had one of them devils yesterday talking about, what's his name, Bill Murray. That Bill Murray is probably a Jake. That's the word they use for Israel. Short for Jacob. Bill Murray, I'm talking about the comedian Bill Murray. You can't get a whole lot whiter than Bill Murray. I'm sure Bill Murray's not going to tell you he's... that he's a black man, so-called one. But that's what one of them camps said. One of their elders said it, because he bought some Earl from them, some incense, that they have no business over there dealing with. But they were selling incense back in New York in the early 90s, and he had an encounter with Bill Murray. He was so proud, and now Bill Murray is walking around with one of our sisters, which is an abomination. Which is an abomination. If you're a sister and you're with, someone who isn't an Israelite, that's an abomination. Study your book. Don't get mad at me. Fix it. But anyway, so it's okay for him to have one of our sisters because he bought some of my oil because he's a nice guy. He was cool. Grown ass, gray-headed idiot talking like that. Disillusionment at the highest level. Again, I'm just bringing this out because when our people, hear someone or look at someone, if they're affiliated with something, if they have what our people can call a church or ministry, a fraternity or a sorority, part of a movement, BLM, NAACP, whatever it might be, Nation of Islam, whatever it is, all because they dress nice and they stand at attention and look serious. Our people tend to think that, their PP is sweet. I could have said the P word. Their P is sweet. I have to be careful saying P where you might think I meant. No, I wasn't talking about that. And David said, he going to kill everything that pisses against the wall. They think their piss is sweet, not bitter. That's that mentality. That's a lot of our people because they're part of something, or a group or an organization, and our people love to be joining up with things. But you say discipline, come back to Yah, study his Torah. Well, bruh, I'm real busy. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna see if I'm a. If there was a religion called Amma, most of our people would be front seat converts. Almost, but never. All the plans in the world, all the great intentions of the world, no execution. But that's Israel. But I want to share you, if you think that your so-called leaders are beyond manipulating you for the heathens, I want you to check this out. Now, this is the eugenics movement. This is, in the 1900s, a movement that was picked up momentum in the 30s. Y'all heard the name Margaret Sanger. By now, if you don't, look her name up. She's the so-called mother of eugenics. Bill Gates' grandfather, I think, he was the founder of their organization at some point. Wasn't related to them. I thought he was, but his father was a part of that eugenics movement as well. He was like on his board of directors or whatever. So if you wonder why old Bill loved to recommend that you get juiced up, now you know. But I'll leave that right there. Just it is what it is. But it's the truth. You can look that up. But look at this, brothers and sisters. From the book. This is the book Medical Apartheid. This is page 196 and 197. I'm going to read a little bit to you, and then we're going to put this down, then we're going to get to a couple other things, then we're going to be in the book of Enoch. So if you have your book in front of you, like, where are we going to be at, Brother DFG? The book of Enoch. Go over to chapter 7 and 8. That's what we're going to review, y'all willing. This is, when it says Sanger, talking about Margaret Sanger here. Say, Sanger tells us at great length in detail that all the girls' family died early and went on to lead lives of hyper-fecundity, looks like that, prostitution, violent crime, or all three. Say the Negro district, meaning Israelites, the Negro district itself, we were told, is the headquarters of the criminal element. Now, this is the leaders of the heathens, the so-called eugenics, Planned Parenthood movement. This is what they think about us. Even though they got a clever name now. They don't call it eugenics. Again, they call it, Planned Parenthood. Pro-choice. For you people who won't pick up real fast. And so we are told is the headquarters of the criminal element. So clearly we are meant to take the black girl's dysfunctional family as a representative. While Sanger's early campaigns were aimed primarily at Eastern Europeans, she turned her attention to blacks in 1929. That year, Lothrop Stoddard wrote in his book, The Rising Tide of Color Against White World Supremacy, while serving on the board of directors for Sanger's American Birth Control League, that's ABCL. They kept that simple. ABCL. Sanger's lover, Havelock Ellis, reviewed it favorably in her journal, The Birth Control Review. That year, she also discarded labels such as good or bad breeding, like cows and horses breed together. That's how they see us, brothers and sisters, to this very day. If you go back and you look at, for all of you patriotic, I served in the military black folk, Israelite folk who want to just love that flag so much, in your constitution that you're defending, it states clearly you're 2/3 of a human being. So what he stood over there hollering at Jill Scott for her rendition of her rewording of the so-called, Star Spangled Banner, her rendition of it. Instead of hooping and hollering at her, maybe you ought to do a little research about these people that you so proudly serve. Or you can't stand somebody criticizing them. When most of the battles that our ancestors fought in, we were the bait. Talking about gator bait, we were the gator bait. They were constantly slaughtered disproportionately than the heathens were. Fighting to defend their wars, their rights, or their agendas. We were always put to the front line. And there were many times while we were on the front line shooting at their enemies, they were shooting at us. There's historical facts with that. But again, that's a subject matter for another day. But that's for all you patriots. Oh, I just can't believe you got something bad to say about America. If you don't like America, leave it. Seriously? You better look around. Before America became white, it was actually black. But of course, you wouldn't know that because you don't study anything. But let us continue on. The rising tide of color against the white supremacy while serving on the board of the directors for Sanger American Birth Control League, ABCL, Sanger's lover, her man, Havelock Ellis reviewed it favorably in her journal Birth Control Review. That year, she also discarded labels such as good or bad breathing stock, chattel, in favor of class or income level. Clever words now. Upper class, lower class, urban, inner cities. See, nothing changed. The name changed, but the event stayed the same. So your sweet, black Jesus was your sweet white Jesus who used to be black. Nothing new to see here, right? That year, she also discarded labels such as good and bad breathing stock in favor of class or income level, as she began restricting birth patterns in Harlem, where 224,000 of New York's 330,000 African Americans lived. Sanger entitled the June 1932 Birth Control Review, her journal, The Negro Number. And she recruited black leaders. Now this is where your Jesse Jackson, your Al Sharptons, unfortunately, your Dr. Kings. This is where they came into play. Your Thurgood Marshalls, your T.D. Jakes, your Geno Jennings, all those people who were promoting, the most recent, mandates. And many of our people thought they were doing this in integrity. Check this out. Nothing new under the sun. She recruited black leaders to contribute articles in support of her eugenics cause. Eugenics, just think in terms of, extinction, getting rid of, limiting, controlling births, controlling human numbers, or birth control. The National Association for the Advancement of Colored People founder, W.E.B. Du Bois, wrote, "The mass of ignorant Negroes still breed carelessly and disastrously." And some people might say, yeah, that's still true. I don't disagree with it. I disagree with the plan to address it. I don't agree with the truth of it. Goes on to say, so that the increase among Negroes, even more than the increase among whites, is from that portion of the population least intelligent and fit. In other words, they're saying all these baby mamas out here are pretty dumb and stupid. Now, that's what it's saying. This is for that I don't need a man, but I want to have a baby group. It says again, from that part of the population, least intelligent and fit, least able to rear their children properly. How do you rear a child properly? Well, according to the book, you have to teach your child the Torah. Proverbs 22:6, train up a child in the way that he shall go. Proverbs chapter 1, my mother Solomon, and my father taught me the Torah in the ways of Yahuwah. This for you, mothers and brothers. Again, either on one side or you're on the other side. But because, again, our people won't read. I'm not talking about all of us. Obviously, I'm not talking about all of us because what am I doing right now? Reading. So I know some of us read. Those amongst us who refuse to just accept people's word for things, we do read. We research. We get, our saw and hammer out. We don't have a problem with that. We want to know what is the truth. But once we get to the truth, we can accept it and we can embrace it. We don't get to the truth and then start backpedaling, going off into the wild blue yonder, and then we become idolaters or witches or whatever comes after the truth. So be careful. When you get to the truth, then you stand on it. You plant your flag there is what your brother is saying. And our word is truth. His Tanakh, his Torah is truth. But this is the NAACP working in conjunction with Margaret Sanger. This is the founder of it, W.E.B. Du Bois. Most of you, if you know anything about, NAACP and the talented tent, the bourgeois, the fraternities, the frats that many of our people, the Masons and all that our people just always talk about how great they are and how helpful they are. Well, they have an origin. And I'm going to tell you something, brother. Their origin was about themselves. It wasn't about, it was about the people, because that's how they got their coming up. They leveled up because they got their little talented tent and they just did things for amongst them for the people. They promoted themselves and put themselves in charge of us. Again, you heard me talk about Thurgood Marshall earlier. But how much do you really know about the man? Well, hey, brother, you shouldn't be saying he was our first black Supreme Court justice. And brother, you don't know nothing about Brown versus the Board of Education? And let's go on here. It continues on. Charles S. Johnson, Fisk University, first black president. So now you see the colleges are tied into this. Universities. The head of the Groves are part of this. So now you've got your organizational movements. You got your school, your college, your higher learning group. And there's only one other group missing. And we're going to get to that group in just a moment. This is still tied into what I said a moment ago. You'll see it. Watch. Charles S. Johnson, Fisk University, first black president, wrote that the eugenics discrimination was necessary for blacks. This is your talented tent. This is your boule. This is your educated black folk talking now, so-called. Was necessary for blacks. And a dozen black writers agreed in print. So now it's your black media. Your platform creators. This is your Robin Robbins, whatever her name is. This is your Tavis, Tavis Smileys. Piggly Wiggly, Jason Whitlocks. This is that group. Your Jason Blacks. All tied in together. Because they know what's best for you. After all, let me get a billboard and tell them, oh, they shot Breonna Taylor and I did it first. Look. Why they got your hand in your back pocket. Let's continue on. In January 1939, Sanger's American Birth Control League, or ABCL, merged with the Clinical Research Bureau to form the Birth Control Federation of America. The Birth Control Federation of America started with eugenics, or the eliminating of black births, or the least controlling of black births. Let me say that the right way, so no one accuse me. This is not medical information. I'm not a medical doctor or a scientist. I'm not claiming to be anything like that. I'm just reading from a journal book that was journaled, quote unquote, for all my little YouTube monitors out there. Let us continue on here. Later that year, Sanger devised the Negro Project. Wow. Which established for the benefit of the colored people, specifically black women who were being denied access to city health services. Isn't that what Biden and all of them started pushing when they started, these states started, the courts started saying, hey, look, you can't just indiscriminately decide who lives and who dies. And what did they say? What did Kamala, idiot box, scatterbrain Harris started talking about? Can you believe women's health? And then you get all of these fraternities that were down there like last week when in the Essence Festival. You got all these sororities because she's a part of the sorority. And I think she's an alpha. And they all went around there. Yes, Sister Sora. Yes, Sora. Yes, Sora. You right, Sora. Our health is important, Sora. They don't care about our health. Well, Margaret Sanger cared about your health to the degree. If it was up to her, you wouldn't be over here bragging, boasting about, services. or who had control of your body or who doesn't. Because if she would have had her way, there wouldn't be no you. Literally. But again, stupid is as stupid does, as the old saying goes. Specifically, black women who were being denied access to city health services. The first experimental family planning centers sought to find the best way to reducing the black population by promoting eugenics principles, and were also founded in the black areas such as Macon County, Alabama, the site of the notorious syphilis study. Y'all know about Tuskegee. Well, you should know. Du Bois, W.E.B. Du Bois, the founder of the NAACP, according to them, also suggested approaching black churches. There's that third arm. Or you might say fourth arm. Your media, your government, your universities, and your church. Now, you start thinking about who was promoting the jab amongst the people. Were it not those same four organizations? You see how disrespectful they can be to us in the name of, oh no, we're good prophets, we're good messengers. No, we care about you. And that's why y'all send men like me to warn you. Ultimately, everybody's got to make up their own mind for themselves. But those he sent to warn you are here to help. And if you don't want that help, then it's okay. You take your toys and go home. We'll be all right. For those of you who are listening still, then Yah loves you. That's why he's warning you. And if you did do it, he didn't stop loving you. He's just telling you something. He's now using men and women who love you as well, coming up with, just for suggesting to you that Abba Yah in his Torah can heal you if you're willing to listen to his messengers. And I know that's hard for a lot of us to do, but you listen to these folk. You were part of that, that program, and you took, what they told you to take. You listened to them. So what's wrong with listening to us? Because surely, you're not that independent. You can be persuaded. That's what I'm saying. So how about some real persuasion? Some real redemption? Some real salvation? Some real restoration? Because it is about you, Israel, the good and the bad and the ugly. But if you just take a moment and focus on the good and leave the bad and the ugly onto the side, then you can find the love of Abba Yah for you in your own book, written for you by men called by Abba Yah to record for you. And, again, messengers, watchmen, like myself, who are not tied into the boule, the four arms of government, so to speak, who will tell you the truth. Because there is no incentive for us to tell you a lie. And the incentive that they wave in front of us, if we have to decide whether or not, we're going to lose your will, we're going to lose your donations versus tell the truth, then we'll find other ways to survive without your donations. Yah will, what the word said, Yah will provide. And he will. And for you, my brothers and sisters, too, who have to walk away from these churches and these governments, these universities, or what have you. They're trying to kick you out anyway. That's why they did away with affirmative action. They don't want you there no more. You're learning just a little bit too much about them. But forget them, learn about yourself. And that's where Abba Yah's Torah comes into play. So they think they're running you out of the building, but they're really running you out of a burning building. When you're coming out of these organizations, the ones that I mentioned, government included, fighting for a government, calling yourself a patriot to a government that use you as human, bait, gator bait. When you leave or come from out of there, don't think you're going into the abyss. You're coming home to the truth. You're coming home to the arms of our Creator. Psalm 1 talks about. You're coming from the ungodly to the godly. What I mean by that, you're coming from wickedness to righteousness. And in righteousness there is truth, and in truth there is power, and in power there is redemption, and in redemption there is overcoming, and in overcoming there is salvation. But shall we continue? Hallelujah. So now we're at the black church. Let's see what happens now. So now you've got your fraternities working with the church. You got your organizations, NAACP. Your other organizations working with the church, conspiring against. Let me not lead the witness here. Because a lot of our people were told by their pastors that was the right thing to do. After all, what would Jesus do? Well, Jesus would have said, go take it. And many of our people took it. Trusting that these people were speaking with integrity. Never realizing that when they came up with that payroll protection plan or PPP and the other stuff, those guys got a shitload of money where you got $600 a week. Some of them became multi-millionaires because they followed the orders of the Baal worshipers, those who were conspiring against Israel from the inside. And don't think it's strange. Go to Maccabees chapter 1. It was always our own people. Almost every time we fell, I would go as far as to say every time we fell, it was our own people who led us away from Abba Yah's truth and his Torah, following the gods of the heathens, just like they're following them now. Been following them. I'm mad at my brothers and sisters who are coming out, who are waking up, saying you keep your JC and stick it clean up your behind. Let's go on here. Let's get back to, okay, so now you got the NAACP working with the black church or the black clergy. Thank Farrakhan when you're thinking this group too. Don't forget about them. They're part of it too. But brother, he didn't tell people to do. Doesn't matter. He sure wasn't on no big crusade early on telling them not to do it. If he did, he said it and ran. Like he always does. It's like the perpetual, coward. They throw the rock, knock somebody upside the head, and then when people look around trying to figure out who threw the rock, they gone. They remind me of that little nursery rhyme, Georgie Porgy. Georgie Porgy, pudding pie, kissed the girls and made them cry. But when the boys came out to play, Georgie Porgy, little gay ass, ran away. He couldn't stand the heat. We got many of them. They start the crap, and then when the shit hits the fan, they running. I ain't got nothing to do with it. You had everything to do with it when it started, but now you don't have nothing to do with it when it's happening. If you're in these organizations, I'm telling you, they're about to burn. Don't be in a burning building. Run. Get out. Come out. Well, brother, what happens if I don't have nowhere else to go? Well, the worst thing that can happen to you, that you can go to that cool, smooth, dry place. Quiet place. Dark, smooth, cool, dark place. And you can rest until the bright day comes. Truly the best day of your eternal life. When Yah's finished with you, there's a place for you. You won't have to go to the back of Yah's bus. So don't be afraid. Let's go on here. So declaring them, let's go to, so we're going back to the syphilis study, Tuskegee. And divorce, W.E.B. divorce, also suggested approaching black churches, declaring them open to intelligent propaganda of any sort. He said the black church is open to propaganda of any sort. That means if you have enough loot, resources, money, they're open to your ideas. I mean, we saw that with T.D. Jakes and Tyler Perry. You know, the cross-dressing Tyler Perry, the hidden homosexual Tyler Perry, him, B.T. Tyler Perry, him. Walked right up on the stage, right in Potter's house. After he said, a little voice in his ear, said, give the pastor $1 million. Now, T.D. Jakes is a multi-millionaire, and he was before Tyler went in that church. But when the word somebody came back up to him and said, hey, Tyler Perry's in the audience, and he wants to give a donation to you, pastor, a significant one. It's on YouTube. You can see it. T.D. Jakes got the Holy Ghost really fast. Tyler Perry came up there and struck him down in the spirit with $1 million. Open to any ideas or suggestion if the money is right. But see, Yah's prophets message, we can't be bought. You don't have that kind of money. You just don't. Because we weren't here for you. We already understand how it is to, not to have or to have. We were tested and tried many times. Some of you know my story. I could have that golden parachute by now. All I had to do was sell out Israel, so-called black people, on my career advancement ladder. But I ain't have it in my heart to do it. Couldn't do it. They literally put the fox in the hen house when they stuck me in there because I started helping the hens. But I guess I was the kind of wrong fox. I started telling the damn hens where the wolves were. Instead of eating the chickens, I'm redirecting the chickens. Over there. You ain't gonna look over there. I'm gonna tell you to come out. I'm good with that decision. Could finance have been better? I could have had a better blessed life and have all the money I could ever need and wealth for my children. At the selling of my soul, I never saw that as an option. Not a reasonable one. So I'm here. Exactly where Yah want me to be in the exact time he wanted me to be here. For you, for us. You can do with that knowledge what you will. Let's go on, brothers and sisters. Declaring them to be open to intelligent propaganda of any sort, including why it is important that we all do, that many of our people did. And added that her organization and other agencies ought to get their speakers before church congregations in their arguments in the Negro newspapers. Why? Sanger took, in the newspaper, Sanger took the W.E.B. Du Bois advice, the head of the NAACP, she took his advice, writing the most successful educational approach to the Negro is through the religious appeals, meaning their churches, their places of worship. We do not want the word to get out that we want to exterminate the Negro population. And the minister is the man who can straighten out that idea if it occurs to any of their more rebellious members You know, those who are not going to drink the Kool-Aid, those of us who are going to question the logic behind it. Why would I do that? Ain't nothing wrong with me. Say, if you want those individuals dealt with, you're going to need the Negro newspaper or their platforms, media included. Remember the rappers? The juveniles out there? Back that thing up. Remember that? Remember Saucy Montana and the nasty little Trick Trina or Trina Trick Trina something and their little thing? A bunch of them. It just wasn't a few of them. Those just two who come to mind easy. They were low-hanging fruit. So they were using all of the industry. Because again, they're open to anything if the money is right. Even to exterminate their own people. Let me make it crystal clear here. It goes on to say, let me pick back up. The Negro population and the minister is the man who can straighten out that idea if it occurs to any of their more rebellious members. She recruited the support of the luminaries such as Adam Clayton Powell, a congressman in Harlem, New York. A notorious whoremongering drunk, but we don't have to get into all of that. But he was also the pastor of the Abyssinia Baptist Church, one of the largest churches in New York. So this is stuff, brothers and sisters, those other channels ain't going to take any time to talk about. That's why you're here. Subscribing here is not to take you anywhere that you don't want to go. Subscribing here is going to put you in a place where you're going to get information you need to hear. You don't have to agree with your brother, but all knowledge is knowledge. It just has to be properly applied if you want to see the value of it. But never let anybody make you think that knowledge is bad in and of itself. You heard me say earlier about studying when you're going so far away that you forgot your base. But information is power too. And our people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, as Hosea told us, 4 and 6. And all you're getting, get an understanding. Proverbs. Get an understanding. Here is where we try to establish that understanding. What I'm doing right now is generating additional understanding about things that are happening right now that they told us were done away in our past. This is in 1930. But why are you talking about something in the 1930s? Because Planned Parenthood is sitting right here in 2023, and it's the biggest argument right now on any political platform, women's health care. They've been arguing that over 100 years, but not for the reason our daughters think they were arguing it. They're arguing it for the same reason they were arguing it about it when Moses was born. When Balaam went over to Pharaoh and said, I know how you can get rid of, their men, them, too many of them, because you can't trust them. They're wicked, they're evil. This is what he said. This is what Balaam said to the Pharaoh. You can't trust them. I got a good idea. Throw their sons to the alligators. Throw them in the Nile. Pharaoh said, you know what, preacher man? It's a good idea. Yeah, Balaam was a preacher, a prophet. Started off good. They paid him off. Open to any ideas. And then he sold his people right down the river. Wow, proverbial. Again, such luminaries. Luminaries is people, renowned people, popular people who made themselves leaders all of a sudden. How you think Cardi B all of a sudden became someone that Kamala Harris loved? That's my favorite artist, Cardi B. When she was trying to run for president of the United States, using those heathens at the Breakfast Club to promote it. Luminaries. Wicked luminaries. That word is not an accidental word. The book of Enoch talks about luminaries. Teaching men all kind of wicked things. Fallen luminaries. They call angels. Watchers. Wicked watchers. and their children, the seed of the fallen. Still interconnected here. Told you it was going to be a little bit all over the place, so you see. Y'all talking to me, I'm sharing with you. But the support of such luminaries as Adam Clayton Powell Jr. of the Abyssinian Baptist Church, and later the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. Yes, that's right. Dr. King was a part of that whole movement too. A lot of you don't know a whole lot about Dr. King. But I've got some information. I got a book. Let me show you something. I'm coming back to this. See right here? It's another book right here. It's called And the Walls Came Tumbling Down. That man is Martin Luther King's best friend. If you see any of the marches Dr. King is in, you'll see this man standing right next to him. His name is Ralph Abernathy. This is him in jail with Dr. King. See that little signal he giving back there? Boule signal. He was a pastor too, by the way. And this guy spills the beans on Dr. King in his book. This guy, Dr. King, you go listen to the speech. I've been to the mountaintop. You'll hear Dr. King reference Ralph Abernathy is the best friend I have in the whole world. Now that's quoting him. Again, go listen. Go. Dr. King's speech, I've been to the mountaintop. You know the one he said, I may not get there with you, but we as a people shall get to the promised land. I'm not worried about any man. I'm not worried about anybody. You remember that speech? Well, if you go to the very beginning of that speech, he's in a Freemason temple, Dr. King, in a Freemason temple, giving that speech. And when he begins that speech, he's recognizing his partnership. And he brings up Dr. Ralph Abernathy as his best friend in the entire world. And that man said things about Dr. King will make your average pimp bashful. Now, I'll leave it right there for you. So when it says Dr. King, don't, everybody, you only know what they told you. That's why you need to be taught. Everybody knows about I have a dream, but there's a whole lot more to that dream than you might know about. Including creating confusion with that white man, black man, all that stuff that he was pushing out there with that. That goes totally against our Abba Yah said we are to be a separate people. Not because we're racist, it's because of the fact he don't want us influenced by the heathens and their agendas like the agenda that Margaret Sanger was pushing through the church, and they're still pushing it. Last time you went in the church and heard them speaking against that. Some of them white heathen ones may be doing it, but they're just doing it for show. Just big mouths. They don't really mean it. If they do mean it, they're talking to white folk. They're not having enough babies. But they ain't gonna come to your black churches and tell you not to kill yours. You can count on that. But yes, Dr. King, the SCLC, another, black movement. Sanger also wanted a black doctor and social worker to staff the clinic in order to gain black patients' trust. You heard that right. She recruiting the doctors and the nurses to push it as well. Some of you got nurses in your family who took it, talking about the jab, and told you were stupid for not taking it. And they were trying to use their status as a nurse to justify that, their qualifications for that. And all they were doing was following the broader agenda. The hidden hand. The ones in the dark. That speaks to those, in the light to come out and propagandize Those who, for lack of a better word, don't have the knowledge to know that they're being conspired against. Because after all, they think, who would do something so evil? I don't know. W.E.B. Du Bois would have. Dr. King would. Clayton Powell would have. And many others. Geno Jennings said it all right, told him. Bishop Nathaniel told his people to do it. You know, Israel United in Christ. Many of the organizations did. I'm sure your pastor did too. Many of your pastors. But if you've been following this channel, we know about these pastors over here, we'd have told you absolutely not. Again, let me read that last statement to you. She wanted the black doctor and social workers. You know what a social worker is? This is someone who's supposed to be helping your family. Helping you, your family to be a better family. This is all your, the WIC people and the welfare and the child support agencies. All these individuals, the caregiver industry, the elderly, take care of, housing assistance in group here. All of them involved in it. We saw that. When Ecclesiastes said, when Solomon in Ecclesiastes said, there's nothing new under the sun, brothers and sisters, he meant it. Nothing new under the sun. We think it's something new because we don't know the past. Those who forget their past are what? Come on. Doomed to repeat it. Better said, Yah people perish for a lack of what? Come on, you can say it. Knowledge. Where do we get knowledge? From the Torah. Where do we get understanding? When we understand what that knowledge in the Torah means to Israel. At least when we study it out, then we get an understanding of who we are, who they are, and why we don't need to serve their gods. We need to stay focused on the one sovereign Elohim. Goes on to say, and wanted a black doctor and social worker to staff the clinic in order to gain black patients' trust. Remember what that Surgeon General was telling everybody? With the warp speed stuff under the Trump administration? For all you black Trump supporters. But the Biden ones, they're just as bad, if not worse. Obama was out there pushing the jab too. Don't forget that. But see how they conspire against us from inside and out. Inside means amongst our own people. Too many of them you can't trust. That's why you stay to the word. That's why you stay to see the Torah is how you're gonna smoke them out, as that old saying. If you wanna get rid of, you know what I'm saying, something that's hidden in a hole, throw some smoke down there. It'll get his ass out of there then. See, the smoke is the word. The smoke is the Torah. And that's why we over here where the smoke is, so we can give them smoke with their lies. And hopefully get our people out of the burning buildings, or organizations, better said. Societies, fraternities, sororities, movements. Last sentence here. After they gained the black patient's trust, she assured the doubtful BCFA, okay, they had some doubts about it. She said, no, let me reassure y'all, we got your best interests in mind. She said, she assured the doubtful BCFA, that's your black churches and their groups, that the black physician's authority will be limited and he, like the clinic board members, would be chosen for tractability. In other words, faith-based initiative, 501c, tax exemption. We'll track them to make sure we keep them under control. And if they preach anything in that church other than what we tell them to preach, we're going to deflock them. We're going to suspend their license. We're going to change their tax status. In other words, we're going to hold them hostage. I know it may be a lot to take in so far, my brothers and sisters. But again, it's just the truth. It's the truth. But when you get back to where we began this message, prepping in your heart. So you got to settle your mind. When I say heart, I'm talking about your whole body. When y'all talks about your heart, love me with all your mind, your love the Elohim with all Alua, with all your heart, all your mind, and all your strength. That means from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet. With all of your brain 10 toes down is what it's saying. That's what that means. You have to love him that way. If you want to see his strength in your life, brothers and sisters, you have to love him that way. And you can't begin to love him except you turn from your way. The way that seems right to you. And come back to him. And you can't come back to him through no damn Jesus. Or Yahushua, or Buddha, or Amara, or whatever one of their black, not black gods are. You have to come to him in truth and in honor and integrity through obedience of his Torah, not your sacrifices. Not your he knows my heart. What did Jeremiah tell us about the heart? Or not Jeremiah, who was it? Maybe it is Jeremiah. Who can know the heart of a man? It's desperately evil. In other words, the way we conduct ourselves on a daily basis without the Torah, even though we might think we're right, we could be sincerely wrong. A lot of these mothers who have offered up their babies in the name of doing the right thing are dealing with that decision, even to this very day, whether they admit it publicly or not. Inside of themselves, they know what they did. And they know there's going to be a reckoning at some point if they're a believer. They know if they're a believer, there's going to be a reckoning about that decision. Not with men, with the Creator. And can he forgive you for doing something like that? Absolutely, if you sincerely seek him for forgiveness. And not only not ever make a decision like that again, but encourage others not to do it. Teach other daughters, and sisters and mothers not to do it. That's redeeming power. Our Redeemer is a Redeemer. If old wicked Naaman can be cleansed of his leprosy, then y'all can do whatever you need him to do for you. But you have to be obedient, sister. Brothers, you too, because many of our brothers got blood on your hands when it come down to our sisters making those decisions. Some of those sisters made that decision because they knew you wasn't going to do anything to help them. Matter of fact, many of the brothers paid for that decision for them. So you can't give somebody, you can't launder money and then call yourself, your hands are clean, just because the money came back to you in a legitimate way. Still dirty money. No matter how you try to clean it up. So brothers, some of you got to repent. Many have already. Praise Yahuwah for those who have. Now your job is to do as your brother's doing. Call it out where you see it and take a stand for Yah. It's not about pro-life, it's about pro-eternity. It's about pro-Yahuwah. It's about pro-your people. So if you want to say pro-life, say pro-eternal, pro-Israel. The heathens and their gods, they can do whatever they want to do. Isaiah warned us about that the heathen's going to do their thing. When he said the ox knows his owner, the ass his master's crib, but my people do not know, will not consider. That's Isaiah chapter 1, verse 3, I think it is. When he said the ox and the ass, he's talking about other religions. He's talking about the Europeans. They know what their Jesus want from them. The Indian, the Southern Indians, they know what they want. The oxes. They know what Krishna and Kali and all of them want from them. Africans, they know what Amara wants from them. Dagon wants from them. The Northern Asians, they know what Buddha wants for them. The Middle Easterners, so-called, there's nothing but Asia West. They know what Allah wants from them. Muhammad wants for them. But when it comes down to Israel, true Israel and Yahuwah, we're the ones who won't consider. So when you read that the ox knows his owner, the ass his master's crib, you can just say that that's just their gods. They know what their gods want, and they serve their gods faithfully. The problem with Israel is we try to serve their gods at the expense of our own Elohim, Yahuwah, Alua. And we're getting our heads handed to us by them and because of their gods who want our heads. Through their movements, government movements, church, universities, medical industries, military, obviously one. Love your blood. Spill yours first and we'll come and clean it up. That's their model. You know, send them black folks out on that front line. You know, we'll be there. Well, what if they don't want to fight and they start turning around and running? Shoot them. Praise Yahuwah. Told you, brothers and sisters, it's going to get deep. And guess what, brothers? A couple other things I'll bring out, and then we're going to get to this word. Okay? You're here for a reason, so pull up a chair. Stay a while. But have you noticed what's going on with Biden over in Europe for their NATO summit? Whatever they're over there doing. This guy is so lost in the sauce that, what's his name? Charles, the so-called king. Well, he is their king. Europe's king, Charles, had to literally lead this man around by hand because he was so disoriented, so lost in the sauce. He didn't even know he had no idea what he was doing. Talking about Biden. For all the world to see. And yet the people are seeing it and still not seeing it. Something is wrong, brothers and sisters. Not with Biden. It's obvious what's wrong with Biden. The problem is what's wrong with the rest of the world, in particular what's wrong with Americans, where they don't realize that that's a problem that they're looking at. A real problem. And they just see it as political fodder. They're just kicking the football back and forth. Republicans, Democrats. But if you notice, none of them have taken a real stand. Republicans haven't taken a stand against why it's Biden out there like that in the state of mind that he's in. That's called Congress. Congress has the power to impeach a president. They have that power to remove him if they wanted to. But they haven't done any such thing. Yeah, they talk about a little cocaine in his office or what have you. But if you notice, it's just rhetoric, just noise. What's going on with them? Who are these people? Or are there people at all? How did they get there? When they got there, what happened? Are they doing a Damal Hamlin or Jamie Foxx thing with them when they get them back in the back room? What happens back there? Who are they when they come back out? I feel confident not who they were when they went in. And then there's the rest of Americans, whatever you call yourselves, that they call themselves. And again, don't anybody shame you because you're not pro-American, brothers and sisters. You were here long before the Europeans came here and commandeered, slaughtered, raped, pilfered, and every damn thing else to steal this damn land. And because they added a stick or two or a hammer or a piece of concrete with bullets, gunpowder, and steel, now I want to tell you to go somewhere else. See, if you knew who you were and you're in your right mind, you would tell them about themselves. And if anybody leaving, it's going to be you. That's what you should be telling them. If you don't like my stance, you leave. I ain't going no damn way. But see, when you have courage, you can do that. But see, when you think that, you still have a slave mentality, you think they have authority to tell you where you can go. And yeah, they're going to use black faces like they've done. I just showed you sellouts. People who, when I say sellouts, you're Uncle Tom, I ain't talking about no so the proverbial Uncle Tom. If you know anything about Uncle Tom was not a so-called Uncle Tom. Quite frankly, the man was just the opposite. But again, that's another conversation for another time. But when you start talking about sellouts or whatever the name it is, first of all, when we're talking about people who are bought and paid for, or people who are so convinced that their oppressors are right because of what their oppressors propagandized them with through the education system and then through the military. That they long ago forgot that they're being spoken down to. And because they have a voice now, they think they're actually one of them. They really do. Until the other shoe falls. Or matter of fact, the other shoe comes up and kick them in the ass. Then all of a sudden, they come to their senses. And now they're us again. Don't fall for that one either. I'm talking about the one who, when he was in position of authority, cracked your skull, and then when he lost it, he had a coming to Jesus moment, and now all of a sudden I just love my people. I didn't understand. They understand exactly what they're doing. I've been there, done that. You don't lose your mind just because somebody bring you an opportunity to grow and advance yourself. I didn't lose mine. When your heart is right, you're never going to sell your own people out. That doesn't happen. It doesn't work like that. So just like they catered to the master when they lived in the master's house, when the master puts them in the shit house or the outhouse, they want to come to you and tell you, oh, I'm one of y'all. Say, nah, you still smell like shit. Hold your nose when they come. You stink. Because most of them are only back there because they can't be over there. And trust me, if that door opened again, they'd run so fast you wouldn't know where they went to get back over there in good grace with the heathens. In their world, the heathen can do no wrong. So don't take that bait either, is what I'm saying to you, brothers and sisters. But see, if you're grounded 10 toes down in the truth, studying, growing, not being told what to do, but studying it out, learning with other like-minded believers, Torah keepers to the best of our abilities, commandment keepers, you'll say clearly who they are. And it won't be so easy for them to persuade you to go their way anymore. But there's stuff going on now because of, I think, what they have put in a lot of people. Say it that way. And you got people on planes now talking about they were sitting next to somebody that wasn't real. They saw them shape-shifting. Shape-shifting. They were literally sitting next to people, and the thing they were sitting to was human but not human. Looked like a human but wasn't a human. And they freaked out. And now they got them, on TikTok and other places. Not that I've been any time over there with that silliness. But it's all over the place. Men and women losing it on these planes, on these confined areas. And beginning to see these things because these things are here. Let's not forget what happened in Las Vegas a month or so ago. Again, like I said to my brothers, they got us all so distracted, so distracted that we were so busy looking at 5 men who went down in a submarine, we forgot all about 2 damn 10-foot aliens who fell in somebody's backyard who were really demons or fallen angels. But they don't want you to talk about that. Because we're at the end. That's what I said earlier. Are you prepared for what is coming? And again, I'm not just talking about resources. While you had better be prepared with resources. Because you might be coming for dinner and you may be on the plate if you are not prepared. And I'm not just talking about resources. Other things you better have to defend yourself. I've told my sisters, I've said it to you again. I'm going to say it to you one more time out of love and respect for you. You better get you some masculine coverage who love Abba Yahuwah. I'm not talking about just a man. Because many of these men, as you can already see, they have already drank the how you say, the transgender agenda. Transgender agenda. They have already gone. Yo, Drake's all you. Now he got his nails polished. Your Offset sitting there with a bonnet on his head and Crocs on his feet. Your Pharrell sitting there holding a purse. And we don't need to go on with the one wrestling with the dresses and the bags and everything else. These are all your so-called gangster rappers. Your cool dudes. Your He-Mans. Which in all indicator are she-men. Looking like He-Men. Unhuman. So they're going to be sights and things you're going to see. I was talking to, we were on our Zoom call this past Friday night, and Sister was saying that, I don't know if she said she looked out the window or she had a dream that he was looking out the window, and there were things that weren't human walking around. Many of us are starting to have those moments where we know we ain't the only ones, in our presence. Watching us. Disrupting our forms of communication. Those of us who know, we know. Of course, they're going to look at us and say, oh, what's wrong with these people? These people loopy. That's only because they don't have eyes to see, ears to hear. Isaiah said that they would be here, right? Eyes to see but can't see, ears to hear cannot hear. Yah has blinded them to the truth. Why? Because they love the things of this world. Are they serving? They're in idolatry. You think Yah going to reveal itself to someone who's practicing Catholicism? Please. Think he's going to open his eyes up to someone who's a professing Protestant or Muslim or Islam or Buddhism, Judaism, Hinduism, Christian? Why would he open up his eyes? Why would he open up their eyes? When they're consciously rejecting him or ignorantly rejecting him. Consciously, ignorantly rejecting him. Because some of our people know the truth and they still are over there with the other ones. They just can't resist the crowds. They can't resist the noise. They can't resist the importance. But yet we got Sang over here telling you that many of them have sold out and will sell out for the right price. Intelligent propagandists, influencers. It's a new job, right? YouTube influencers, platform creator influencers. What are they talking about? Who are they talking to? At the end of the day, who pays them? Are their messages commercial free? Monetized, non-monetized? Not hard to find out who's paying them. What did David say? Except how y'all build the house, they that labor in vain. That's where we are. If the resource don't come from Yah or those who serve Yah, then we're better off not having that resource. And we know that. Because it comes, with something extra. You may have to do a little bit more than maybe you understood when you first started taking it. Happens all the time, brothers and sisters. But then there's always going to be the remnant of us right here. We're going to do your Abba Yah's will no matter what the hell anybody says. Even if it's at our own expense or demise, we're good with it. See, unlike a lot of, you won't hear many our brothers say this. I'm still going to get to, we almost done. You can look at the clock if you're following. You can see, okay, he's only got X amount of minutes left. I get it. But let me say something to my brothers and sisters. Some of us are not afraid to transition. Some of us live long enough to see many people that we love transition. Some to that smooth, cool, dry place and others to the burning place. You see, when you of a mind, your mind is made up that you're not afraid of what's next, then you can't be sold. Brothers, you can just stand up and tell anybody, including little wicked women and sisters, little wicked men. You can look it right in the face and tell them, go to hell. And you can take that shit you trying to dingle in front of me with you to persuade me how important you are, how necessary you are. Nothing is more necessary than your soul in its relationship to Abba Yahuwah. Nothing. You see, when your mind is made up, then you're not worrying about leaving. You understand you're not to go before your time because Yah has things possibly for you to do. But when he's done, you're good with it. I'm good with that. If Yah came for your brother today, I'm not struggling with that. I'm not sitting there pissing my pants. I look forward to the time. But in the meanwhile, I'll do whatever his will is for my life. And if that means communicating with my brothers and sisters and teaching and encouraging, rebuking, chastising, whatever he says, I'm willing to do. Alone or not alone. Many of us know tough times, hard times, bad times. So you ain't going to get us with that. Do we look forward to that? No. Is it our preferred life? No. We're not stupid, ignorant martyrs for the sake of being a martyr. That's Christianity and its foolishness. But we also understand there's going to come a time you have to make a decision. And that decision can determine where you're going to spend eternity. And so some of us have made the decision already. And there's no weapon on this earth that's going to turn us away from Yahuwah. Nothing. Forget about it. So if you're a witch out there or a warlock out there and you casting spells, those spells will come right back and they're going to kill you and everything associated with you if you're sending them this way. You're not fighting your brother. You're fighting who sent him. For those of you who think it's your job to attack the truth because it's coming out of my mouth. When Yahuwah tell Samuel and Moses, like, hey, look, when they rejected you, they don't get out of your feelings, Samuel. Come on, Moses, get out your feelings. Come on now. Put your big boy bridges up, Samuel. Moses, tighten up your bridges, Moses. No sagging around here. When they rejected you, they talking evil against you, plotting against you, saying all these things about, he said, they're not attacking you, they're attacking me. Because they don't have enough sense to know that I sent y'all. And that's where their problem has begun. They don't realize who you guys are speaking on behalf of. So don't take it too personal. So we get it. I get it. But for those like-minded believers like myself out there, y'all know who you are. Again, the things that Abiyah is showing us, he's showing us for a reason, so we know how to maneuver. When he tells us to come out, we're coming out for a reason. Where we're going to go, he's showing us where we need to be. Who's going to be with us and where we're going. Where's that, Brother DFG? You ever heard a little saying, for me to know and you to find out? But entities on planes, entities in supermarkets, entity in houses, entities, luminaries, fallen ones, among us, two-legged ones, melanated and non-melanated ones who are not humans. That's what artificial intelligence is about. It's conflating, getting confused. You ain't gonna know what's real and what's not real. Is that really Jamie Foxx? At the end of the day, who gives a damn? But I'm just saying. Who was that on the stage? Was that Taylor Swift or was that Travis Scott or was that Satan? Or fallen one? If you don't know the difference, then you don't know the difference. Your question is in the question. Your question is behind the question. Why don't you know the difference? And if you knew the difference, Why are you still there? Why haven't you come out? Why are you still dabbling in both things? A lot of Israelites quickly want to say they're the two-thirds, they're the two-thirds. Hell, many of you who think they're the two-thirds, you're forgetting one more person. That's you. Because you're not doing what you're supposed to do either. 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Depending on who's talking and who, you know what I'm saying, who inspired you today. And I'm going to say one thing else while I'm talking about this. I'm a man of Abba Yahuwah, called to do what I do. And I will say this to any of you. Don't say anything to me telling me that Abba Yah told you to tell me something. I'm going to call you out for it as being, you know, practicing witchcraft ignorantly, possibly. I won't hold that to you. You probably thought you were doing right. But if Abba Yah says there's no secret that he's going to hide from me, why do you think he would tell you and not tell me, except I be in rebellion? So be careful what you're saying. Because you feel inspired all of a sudden. You think you got a new revelation. Don't mean you're supposed to be running your mouth to the prophet with that. To Yah's messenger is what I'm saying. If Yah has something for your brother to know, he will tell me. He might use you to confirm it. I'm not saying you won't be a witness. You can't be a witness to what he has. He says that every word be established by witnesses, precepts. We understand that. I fully understand that. But I feel very, very confident he's going to tell me first, and he'll use some of like-minded believers amongst us to confirm it or establish it for me. So like Gideon. Go back and read, Gideon Judges, chapter 6 and 7. Gideon was a believer, but he wasn't too sure. Yah gave him a commandment, so he asked for some evidence of it, and Yah said, okay, well, what do you need? And then Yah confirmed it for him. And if you don't think Yah can confirm things, you just don't know Abba Yahuwah, like some of us do. We can tell you, there are many times some of us know that Abba Yah put things on our minds at the same time, at the exact same time. Don't tell us we don't know what we're talking about. You don't know because you don't know Yahuwah. And if you knew Yahuwah, then you would say, yes, brother, you're right. But again, I just want to put that out there too. Be careful who you're listening to. Some of our people think it's Yah talking, and it's that voice in your head because of other things going on in your life that you haven't dealt with. And until you deal with that voice in your head ain't going nowhere. And neither are you. And again, don't forget about what I said when they talk about the ox knows his master, and the ass is master's crib, brother. That's just another word saying that the heathens are set apart. They serve their gods completely. It is Israel who does not serve Yahuwah. That's why he used that comparison. As blind as they are, thinking that their gods is the creator. As blind as they are with that, they're committed to it. But there's Israel over here, who are the children, the chosen of Yahuwah. All through the book, he calls us that. And there we are saying, I don't know about all that stuff. That's a little bit too much, bro. I ain't ready yet. I got to take it slow while I continue to be a hoe. Male or female, I might add. I'm talking about whores. Spiritual is what I'm talking about. Okay. Just so you guys get it. Spiritual whores, idolaters, breaking a wedlock, serving other Elohims, okay? I know some of y'all jump right to the flesh. Enoch chapter 7. We're going to get right through this and we're done. And it happened, just to give you some foundations that go right up under this, brothers and sisters. I'm not going to expound on this. Maybe if Abba Yah will tonight, this will be a part of our study. So if you want to be a part of our study tonight, today is Wednesday. We're here every Wednesday. Then we'll get into the depths of this tonight. Better yet, we'll be studying this tonight. And if you missed a study, then y'all willing, we'll do a breakdown later on, this week of what we studied tonight. But you're invited. Okay, we're going to be studying Enoch chapter 7 and Enoch chapter 8. Okay? Because to go through it, brothers, I'm telling you, it would take another hour and a half. Because I'm not giving you anything without precepts. This is what they would consider an apocryphal book, but it's a true book. It talks about the spiritual warfare that everybody want to talk, but we don't wrestle against flesh and blood. Y'all know that one, right? This actually breaks down what that is and what it looks like. What's actually going on. It gives substance to that statement. But we can discuss that. This will be the study tonight with precepts. So come with your saw and hammer. With that said, brothers and sisters, again, I hope you're prepared. I hope you're ready. The whole thing I said about abiding, I'm saying, why do you think that would even be tolerated? Why do you think nobody's responded to all that kind of stuff going on all over this earth, I might add? Because they already know the game is over. They're not going to tell that to you. But those who know, they know. One of my brothers was talking the other night on the Zoom call. He said, they were saying it was 90 seconds to midnight. Right, brother? I don't call the brother's name. I don't know he wouldn't mind, but the brother knows his initials are RH. He was sharing it. They're talking about, how close it is to midnight. According using their theology, their Scientology. We have a greater Scientology. We have the truth. It's not science, it's facts. And in that truth, where they got their 90 seconds, for some of my brothers and sisters, you got a whole lot less than that to decide. Somebody today has $11 seconds. And guess what? They may not have made it. I'll end this message with some advice to you. Don't let that be you. The world may have 90 seconds, but that don't mean you do. So it's time to get ready, open your eyes, repent, come out of idolatry. Remember, they're conspired and they're using all of their resources to pull you away. Many of these men are going to seem like people who are very important, renowned, luminaries. And our people are listening to them because they're the so-called experts. And the only thing they're expert in is deceiving. But you won't know that if you don't know the truth. And what is truth? Yah's word is truth. That being said, my brothers and sisters, hopefully I'll see some of you guys tonight, at least hear your voices. And y'all willing, I don't know how much time we have left. But settle in yourself. Be like your brother. I'm ready to go. Whenever y'all call, I'm ready. It's a cool, dry, smooth place for me. I'm okay with that. I'd like to stick around a little while longer and do some other things. I think he's not done with your brother just yet. But if he is, I'm good with it. If he isn't, I'm good with that too. In the meantime, I'm going to do my job. My job is to bring forth his truth for our people that he loves and I love too. Just hope our people are willing to love themselves more than they love the heathens and the heathens' gods. Because if they don't, they're going to go right where the heathens going to go, and they're going to be destroyed right along with them. We read all that story is already well written. 2/3 of Israel are going to be destroyed, right along with the heathens. Reptiles, reptilians. We'll get into that tonight. Y'all willing. DFG, talk to you later. Shalom.